Today I'm as I said, Brazilian, I'm coming from Dublin, and in Dublin, basically, I'm now doing a lot of consulting where I go to organizations, and I work with individuals, teams, and the organization as a whole to how to be more efficient and effective as well. So things that Jeff talked in the morning. But this thing here is going to be focused more on the efficiency. So this is a tool that I use when coaching individuals or even teams. And it's really important to understand how the work works and how the dots link to the other and the impact that they have in the way that we work. And that's what I'd like to show you today. So let's start looking how the work works. So regardless of it's a task or a user story or a feature or something that you have to do, at some point you have to start work on. It's very slow. So if you have to start the work, regardless of the type of work, correct? Eventually, you need some time to work on it, to spend some time to complete that task, that story, that feature, that demand, or whatever. It's just not working. Yeah, I have to be closer, I guess. So I have a work in progress for some time, right? So I've started to work it, I spend some time on that, and eventually, I will, the next step, come on, clicker, I'll have the work done. Isn't it? That's the way how the work works here in Poland, isn't it? Sure. I thought that you had the flow like that. Unfortunately, back in Brazil and in Ireland, it's slightly different than that. I was like really praying that, oh, in Poland it's gonna be like this. But there is a bit different. So we start work, we have some time to work on that, and then we have the work done. But eventually, things will be blocked by dependency, by something else, or even put on hold, because there was a nice talk about the DDD. I like the term disruption-driven development, because someone else asked, hey, can you help me here? Can I give you attention? And then we're going to park work or put on hold. Of course, if something's blocked, we're going to be idle, then we can go on holidays, right? That's it. No? Not here in Poland? Damn it. So, of course, we have the cultures because we're paid to work, to be 100%. Resource utilization, right? What are you going to do? If we are idle, we will start more work. Correct? And here we have the first cycle, adding work to our system. Okay? Eventually, so I'll get some work done, but at some point, there's some work parked in here, right? Because if it's blocked or on hold, what is blocked now may be unblocked. What is on hold that was not priority at that moment became priority, and then we, or all of these will increase our work in progress, but we, at some point, have to go there and start multitasking, context switching. That was very well covered during the DDD, the disruption-driven development. And this, what's going to happen with us? We're going to start multitasking, and multitasking will create our older cycle, adding more work. What happens when we are multitasking in terms of quality? Gets better, right? When we do a lot of things at the same time, quality goes higher, right? Yeah, yes. I'd like to talk more about this with you then. Usually what I've seen is quality drops. People get more upset, stressed, and so on. But this will always increase our work in progress. What happens if we go to a restaurant and we order food until we get the food if the restaurant is full? It's not even 100%, it's 120%. We got some chairs outside from the near restaurant and put more chairs in there, so they're operating 120%. What happens with what we call lead time? Increase? Yeah. Or make shorter? Come on, lead time. There we go. What happens with the time that takes from the order until we get the food? Takes longer, right? Yeah. Maybe the quality won't be the same as well. And by having like this long lead time, imagine me as a stakeholder, I come to you and say, look, folks, I have a new demand. I need something for Christmas. Christmas is just 2 months, in 2 months, right? There's a new demand. Someone did some changes or the Brexit there, and the Brexit happened, and we have to do some change for Christmas, and you are operating like 120%. What you and your teams will say? No way, there's no way, we are swamped, correct? And I, naturally, as a stakeholder, I'm here like, how can I convince them to do my work? There's a simple and easy way that everybody does. Let's make that, come on, click, urgent. Let's shout loud, let's escalate that. Then, the LVD happens a lot. The loudest voice dominates. Prioritization, right? It's a very common way of prioritize things. I will just shout loud, use my influence to let's make that urgent. And what happens with our system here, our perfect system? We have, come on. We have another cycle here, adding work to my system. What happens if all those cycles keep moving? What is the consequence of that? Work in progress. A lot of work in progress. I will do a different question here. How many of you don't work with software here? Do you have anyone? One? Is it like some kind of tangible or intangible work? Can you see the work, the inventory, or not? No? So you fall in the same way that we software development. How can we see the work? Where is our inventory? What is our work in progress? Where is it? Somewhere. Maybe we're going to discuss about that. But we can see it, like it's intangible work. So it's hard to see how much work in progress, how much waste, how much the work in progress is impacting our organizations. And this is a tool that I use to kind of show the more we do this, the longer it takes, the more we start things and don't finish, put things on hold, the more we don't attack the blockers, that's what happens with us. And of course, we have here teams burning out, trying to do as much as possible, working on overtime on weekends, and suddenly just saying, bye-bye, and the knowledge goes with them. And they didn't finish the blocked work here. Now there's something else to take over, something that has no idea. So it's even worse, right, situation. But now what? What can we do? I just have the problem here. What can I do with that? Here are a few things. Again, there's no silver bullet, but there are a few things that I tend to use with my clients. Let's see what are them. First, I use this as a tool, a coaching tool, with individuals or even with teams, with management, as an opportunity to show them what happens when they start pushing work into the system, right? So that helps as a kickoff point. Another thing that one said about board is about this, make work visible. We work with intangible, we don't see. Whenever we get a Post-it, write down a Post-it, you put on a wall, it's a way to make the intangible tangible. I did a very complex exercise with the director of technology in a company possibly a month ago. She had a spreadsheet with loads of projects, people, man-hours, very complex. She was the only one understanding that. Even the CEO had no clue what was there. And when I look at this, I said, now let's do this complicated exercise. Can you write down a Post-it every project or demand that you have in progress right now with the guys out there? And she did this. 10 minutes later, we put on the wall. I didn't say a word. I could read her mind say, what the? That word. And basically, there were more projects than people developing. And projects not like a week. It was about 2, 3, 4, 5, up 6 months of demand. It was unreal, the amount of work that we had. So visualizing work kicks off a lot of information. Make work visible. The other thing is, let's limit our work in progress. By limiting our work in progress, we can start talking about predictability, and that's important. So by having this amount of work in progress, what is our lead time, how long it takes, try to stabilize that. I'm not even making that shorter, but just being more predictable, saying 85% of the time we deliver in 2 months or less, right? Still a lot of time, but it's a start point. Trying to bring like more predictability. This can kick off other conversations, and this goes to the pull over push and say, okay, now my system is kind of balanced. I have to have demand and deliver balanced out. Rather than having like the making things urgent, whenever I'm more predictable, I can say, okay, now we can move to a pull system rather than a push. Choose what you want in the next 2 months or a month. What is your lead time? I don't know. So then you start like you are balancing out demand and delivery. Push is always, if I'm pushing work into the teams, I'm always increasing my work in progress, right? Metrics. I do believe that you don't manage what you don't measure, right? It's like a dashboard in a car. So you have to know if you are having an oil pressure problem, you have to know if it's now fixed or not, or if there's a problem or not, right? Measuring is very important, but be careful, because metrics will mold behaviors, will influence behaviors. And here we are talking about the output, efficiency. I usually work with 4 pillars. We were discussing yesterday with Simon. I work in 4 pillars. I work with effectiveness, the what part, efficiency, how much, how long it takes, quality. Quality will impact in effectiveness and consequently efficiency, and also we can call happiness or culture. So people have to be engaged. It's all about people. Try to balance out metrics. What you measure or you reward, you're gonna get. Be careful with that. And whenever you can measure whether you are getting better or worse, like not worse, or not that good. So if you try something and now our dashboard showing that something's dropped, at least you learned that that doesn't work and you can experiment new things. Whenever you're in, then you can see your system is stable, you are pulling rather than push. Then at the end, you can start attacking blockers and waste, making your fast response or your lead time shorter. Blockers are really a killer for flow. So I've worked really with one case I remember that was like the worst example we can say. We were in a planning, and to deliver one feature, one single feature, there were more than 10 dependencies. When I mean 10 dependencies, 10 different teams. That would be like blocked all the time. That's highlight a lot of problems, silos and so on, but we can attack blockers even before they happen. And then, whenever I have my system like more stable, we can go for remove the waste. I'm a lean approach, part of the remove waste of my process. Remove handoffs, partially done, optimize the work not done, and all this stuff. So those are some of the lean principles under eliminate waste. They're very important, but usually I tend, first of all, try to stabilize the system to then optimize it. Right? I think it's pretty much about that. Feel free to contact me on my social network. I'm going to be around here if you want to discuss more. I'm not sure if I have some time to questions, maybe less than a minute. But that's it, folks. Thanks a lot for your time and attention.